Hello, everyone, and welcome to your severe weather briefing for tomorrow. It's going to be April 13th. It's April 12th right now. It's 6:34 p.m., and we're going to be going over what to expect tomorrow and how you can prepare. I'm going to be starting with the preparations that can be made to prepare for tornadic activity, how to stay safe during and after the tornadoes. And then I'm going to be going over the differences between a tornado watch, a warning, and the different tiers which can be within that. And then I'm also going to be going over the Storm Prediction Center's severe weather risk categories, so that way you know what exactly that means when I do make the final briefing on this tomorrow morning before the storms do move through. So, dangerous situation coming up. We're going to go over preparations, and then we're going to go over what exactly to expect. So, first things first, preparing for a tornado. The first thing that you want to know is you want to know your area's tornado risk. So, the Midwest and the Southeast have the greatest risk, but particularly you want to know what the forecast is. Tomorrow we have that elevated risk, so it's important to be weather aware as these tornadoes potentially move in. There's a slight chance of one tonight, but it seems pretty unlikely, so we're mostly looking at tomorrow for the potential for tornadic activity and severe weather, generally speaking. Second thing, you should know the signs of a tornado. That includes rotation, funnel-shaped clouds, and an approaching cloud of debris. Some of these tornadoes could be rain-wrapped. We're going to be in a very moist environment tomorrow, so if you're in a tornado warning, that should be enough for you to take shelter. Do not listen for these signs. It's important to know the signs in case a warning isn't issued fast enough. Normally they are, but you want to rely on those warnings. So sign up for a community's warning system, emergency alert system, weather radio, things like that. If your community has sirens, you can become familiar with that. I actually suggest against this. And the reason is because you can't always hear those sirens. So make sure that you have other ways to get alerts, the emergency alert system on a weather radio, or on your phone. That's going to be the big ways to get tornado warnings. Next thing, pay attention to weather reports. So go to meteorologists, places like that, to get information. This report here is going to be containing information by meteorologists. I'm more of a messenger than anything else, and I'll be going over a couple of my own thoughts at the end. You want to be identifying and practicing where to go to a safe shelter, so identify your safe place. Now, something when it comes to your safe place for tomorrow. This is going to be in the morning into early afternoon hours. This is going to be during work. This is going to be during school. So this is going to be something where you need to know your safe place at that work, that school, or the institution which you're going to be at. You're likely going to be away from home. So identify that safe place for your work tomorrow morning when you go into work. Just make sure that you know where that safe place is in case you need it, because I'm afraid we're going to have a lot of people that are going to need that safe place tomorrow. All right, next thing. Plan for your pet. This sounds stupid, but they put it here for a reason. A lot of people, they kind of put this off and think if the moment comes, we'll just take them down. It doesn't always happen, especially in fast-developing situations. And finally, prepare for a long-term stay-at-home or sheltering in place by gathering emergency supplies, cleaning supplies, non-perishable foods, things like that. This should happen well before the day before a big severe weather event. Just make sure you have some things in case the power goes out, in case there's a lot of debris and you're unable to really get outside of your area. During a tornado, so this is if you're put under a tornado warning, you want to be making sure that you are taking all of these into consideration. So you want to immediately go into a safe location that you've identified. You want to pay attention to the emergency alert system, no weather radios, or local alerting systems for current information and instructions. Protect yourself by covering your head and neck with your arms, putting materials such as furniture and blankets around or on top of you. I know it sounds stupid, but a football helmet, bicycle helmet, something like that, make sure that you wear that if you can, again, if you're not in work or anything, and make sure that you have soft things. If there are soft things, if there are things you can put above your head to protect yourself, that's important. If not, use your arms to cover your head and neck from the outside, as blunt force trauma to the head is the number one cause of death from tornadoes. As long as you are in an interior room, you should be okay. But dangerous situation, still currently taking place. Definitely something that needs to be considered if you're there. So, dangerous situation. You want to make sure that you're in shelter, but you're definitely going to want to make sure that you can protect yourself from flying debris in one way or another. After the tornado, you're going to want to make sure that you are not calling if possible. Call through social media. Call through anything but that phone line. That phone line needs to be saved for first responders and emergency vehicles. One more thing before I get back to staying safe after a tornado. Don't try to outrun the tornado in a vehicle. Don't stay in a mobile home. You need to get to a sturdy shelter as soon as you know you're in the warning, and that's good. It's actually more likely that you survive a tornado in a ditch than in a vehicle or a mobile home if you get hit. So if worse comes to worse, get in the ditch, but a sturdy shelter, gas station, something like that, that's going to be the best place to be. So after a tornado, Pay attention to your emergency alert system for updated information. You might not be out of the threat after the first warning. In the event that a tornado does move through, you're going to want to stay clear of fallen power lines. You're going to want to contact your healthcare provider if you're sick and need medical attention. That's going to be important. And you're going to want to wear appropriate gear during cleanup. Again, this is assuming that cleanup is going to take a while. So again, if you're hit by a tornado, you want to make sure that that cleanup is happening and you are in appropriate gear to make sure that you remain safe during it. So that's what we have there in terms of preparations. Now let's go over severe thunderstorm risk categories. This is what we're going to be going over tonight. So you have your level 1 through 5 scale. So this is a level 0. This means no severe storms are expected. Your marginal risk, that's green. That's a level 1. That means isolated severe storms are possible. Level 2, that's scattered severe storms being possible. Level 3, numerous severe storms possible. These are going to be more persistent, widespread, somewhat intense. Moderate risk, level 4 of 5. This is pretty rare. You don't see a moderate risk very often. This is for long-lived, widespread, and intense storms. Finally, that level 5 out of 5. Extremely rare, widespread, severe storms are expected. Long-lived, very widespread, particularly intense. So now that we know that, the final thing before we actually get into things, second to final thing, difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning. If you're in a tornado watch, that means watch out, right? Tornado watch, watch out. So you're going to want to make sure that you're staying aware of the weather, watching in case you're put under a tornado warning. So this means that you need to know your safe place. This means that the conditions are favorable for a tornado, but it means one is not imminent. It means you need to be on the lookout. You need to be on watch. Tornado warning. If you're in a warning, you need to take action. This means that a tornado is imminent or is about to be imminent, and you need to be seeking shelter in your safe place as a tornado is likely about to be, if not already on the ground, somewhere within the warning area. All right, now this is the part that I don't normally go over very often, but I feel that it's important I go over anyway. So, impact-based warnings. This is going to be important tomorrow because there are actually different levels of tornado warning, and unfortunately, I think we could see all of them tomorrow. I definitely think we're going to be seeing the considerable one right here at some point tomorrow. So, this is what we have. Your standard tornado warning. This is what most of them are. Tornado warning, radar indicated. This means that evidence on radar and near storm environment is supportive, but there is no confirmation of a tornado. So this is when you see rotation on radar, something like that. Normally, this means that there's some rotation. Most of the time, this is associated with weaker tornadoes, tornadoes that aren't quite as powerful. If you have an observed tag on your tornado warning, that means a tornado is confirmed by storm spotters, law enforcement, Doppler radar, something like that. So you have your damage tags there. This is for whether it's radar indicated or observed. Now here are your damage threat tags, and these are going to be the big ones tomorrow. So if there's no tag, that's used most of the time when tornado damage is possible, but the tornado duration is generally expected to be short-lived, but there could be some damage. Now, the considerable and catastrophic damage tags, I think we could see both of them tomorrow, unfortunately. The first one, considerable. This is used very rarely. When there is credible evidence that a tornado capable of producing considerable damage is imminent or ongoing. These are normally long-lived tornadoes that do lots of damage in their wake. So this is not something that you see very often, but it's definitely something that can happen. So this is something that I think we could see tomorrow, unfortunately. That means that there is credible evidence of considerable damage occurring. And just for context, the Weather Service uses the wording, this is a particularly dangerous situation, most of the time with that considerable damage tag. Now, the catastrophic damage tag. This is used very rarely, exceedingly rarely, when a severe threat to human life and catastrophic damage from a tornado is ongoing. So this means that they know that a large, violent, extremely dangerous tornado is on the ground. This is only used when reliable sources confirm a violent tornado. The tornado duration is generally expected to be long-lived. So tornado emergencies are very, very rare. And again, that's what it would be called, is a tornado emergency. We've never had one in the St. Louis area before. And hopefully that remains the case tomorrow, but I can't make a guarantee. But again, here are the tags. No tag, that's most of the time. Considerable damage threat. This is rare. That's a particularly dangerous situation. That means there's a large, dangerous tornado on the ground. Tornado emergency, catastrophic damage tag. Large, violent, extremely dangerous tornado, a catastrophic life to property and human life. So catastrophic threat to human life and property, that's what a catastrophic damage tag does. So that's where we are there. Again, I unfortunately think we're going to see that considerable damage tag somewhere tomorrow, unfortunately. We'll just have to see, and we could see the catastrophic tag. All right. Now that we've gone over all of the information that we need, there's one last thing I want to go over real quick, and that is a tornado watch. It could be issued tomorrow with the text. This is a particularly dangerous situation. This is used for tornado watches in rare situations when long-lived and intense tornadoes are likely. This enhanced wording may also accompany severe thunderstorm watches for widespread exceptionally intense straight-line winds. So, could see that tomorrow as well. Whether the watch gets put with that wording or not, we'll just have to see. But unfortunately, I think a tornado warning somewhere within the St. Louis area will have that. All right, let's get into what's actually going to happen. So, this is what we're looking at for tomorrow. Confidence is increasing in a significant severe weather event occurring tomorrow in eastern Missouri and southwest Illinois. Large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes are all possible, especially in the area indicated above. So, if you're within the black dotted line, you are within the highest risk for big-time tornadoes, strong winds, large hail. And this is not good news. So, you can see a couple of things. First of all, in the Storm Prediction Center scale, we're in the enhanced risk, level 3 of 5, level 4 of 5 to the south. Places like Farmington, Cape Girardeau, places south there. You are in a level 4 out of 5 severe risk. This is very rare. And something I'd like to mention as well is that whether you're in a level 3 or a level 4, the conditions tomorrow are very favorable for a widespread, significant severe weather event. So generally speaking, if you're within the black dotted line, you need to be watching out tomorrow because it could be a really rough day for you. All right, let's talk about now what they're saying in the graphic. Significant severe thunderstorms are expected Wednesday in eastern Missouri and southwest Illinois. So, a line of severe storms will develop during the day tomorrow, with storms intensifying during the late morning and afternoon in eastern Missouri and southwest Illinois. Storms will be occurring during the work and school day, so please heed caution and plan accordingly. It could be a big day, so make sure that you have your plans in place. You know where that safe place is going to be regardless of where you are. All right, let's talk about the timing of these storms. This is what it's looking like. Storms are going to develop in central and northeast Missouri during mid to late morning Friday. So generally in this area, they're going to fire off. Then they're going to intensify. They're going to ramp up in intensity in the early morning into the early afternoon, late morning into early afternoon as we do head in here. And then as we head into the afternoon here, we're going to start to see these storms really getting intense here for severe weather. So again, strong winds, large hail, strong tornadoes, all a possibility. Something I'd also like to go over on this graphic real quick. The tornado potential is maxed out at high. The wind speed threat is maxed out with winds greater than 80 miles per hour possible. And they're showing the maximum hail size up to golf balls. So big time severe threats tomorrow, generally speaking. And again, we're going to break that down a little more here in just a minute. But this is going to be during the school day. And generally speaking, 9 to 12 p.m. within this area, turquoise-like area, 11 to 2 p.m. in the beige area, 1 to 4 p.m. in the green area, and 3 to 7 p.m. Heading into Illinois here. So, as you can see there rather clearly, Columbia in the 9 to 12 p.m. time frame, I'd say around 10 a.m. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'd say it's where Jeff City, 2 p.m. Again, you're going to be right on the line here around the St. Peters-ish area, and then again 1 to 4 p.m. as we head on through here. So, dangerous situation currently unfolding. Finally, before we really break down what's going on tomorrow, severe storms are going to be possible tonight as well. Level 1 out of 5 in St. Louis, level 2 out of 5 in Columbia. A few strong to severe storms are possible, with damaging winds being the highest threat. The greatest threat of severe weather is across central Missouri and also across southeast Missouri and southern Illinois, with the severe thunderstorms being possible after 3 a.m. So, dangerous storms going to continue, but again, not looking like it's going to be that big of a deal compared to tomorrow. So now let's take a look what the Weather Service is saying in more detail. Significant severe weather Wednesday. All hazards are expected as a line of storms crosses the region. So this is what they're saying. Again, significant severe weather event Wednesday. Severe thunderstorms that develop west of the area tonight will weaken as they approach us, but severe storms will redevelop and approach eastern Missouri tomorrow morning through the afternoon. Large hail up to golf ball size, damaging winds 70 to 80 miles per hour or greater, and several tornadoes, some strong and long track, are possible in parts of eastern Missouri and southwestern Illinois. Moderate risk for severe weather was added to southeast Missouri and southwest Illinois, and I wouldn't be shocked if we see an expansion of that a bit, unfortunately, by tomorrow morning. Let's talk about the timing here. So, storms in western Missouri will weaken as they approach the area tonight. Severe storms are expected to develop mid to late morning across central and northeast Missouri. The coverage and intensity of severe storms will increase by midday as the storms move eastward into eastern Missouri and western Illinois, and severe storms should exit southeast Missouri and south central Illinois by mid-evening. Let's talk about forecast confidence now. The confidence in storms occurring is now high. The timing of these storms, there's high confidence in that, and the location, there's also high confidence in that. Again, that tornado threat, about as high as it gets. The hail threat, It's at 3/4 of the way there. Moderate threat, about as high as it gets in terms of the wind threat. Flooding threat, relatively low. That's the only good news that we really have out of this. And this is their details. We have high confidence in a significant severe weather event occurring on Wednesday with widespread severe thunderstorms. The greatest threat and most intense severe weather will occur from around midday through the afternoon. There is a high probability of tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail. So, unfortunately, that's the situation we're in. It's going to be a big day tomorrow. Before we move on to model solutions here, just a couple of possibilities. I want to make something very clear when it comes to this event. This is a high-end, upper echelon event, the likes of which we haven't seen in a while. But that does not mean that it is going to be something that is going to be like this life-altering, super bad kind of thing. The way this is going to work is if you're weather aware tomorrow and you heed the warnings that are given, when they are given, and you know the damage threats and everything, and you take the actions you need to stay safe, you will get through it. You will be safe. There will be some places that get a bit of a rougher showing here. There are going to be some bigger tornadoes tomorrow, some bigger hail, some stronger winds. There's going to be damage. There's going to be some unfortunate situations, but you're going to be okay if you take the actions you need to. I can promise you that. As long as you get to that underground shelter, if you're in a tornado warning, as long as you're staying indoors during severe thunderstorms, you're going to be okay. All right, let's go over the potential model solutions. So, starting with the NAM 3 kilometer, the North American model, we're going to move now to the current time, which is around 7 p.m. You can see that line of storms to the north. This is not exactly what's going on. We have some stronger storms that have ended up forming, but this shouldn't affect tomorrow too much. So, you have that line of storms moving through. Here's your arc. And as we head to 2 a.m., we'll start by breaking down the environment in Kansas City on our first of two solutions. In this solution, we see here that we have a capping inversion. This is going to prevent tornadoes. So this is a large hail threat given by the number down here. Once your number here is above 7, you've got a big time hail threat, and then you've got enough of a profile here and a strong enough lower level wind that you could definitely see here pretty quickly a stronger wind gust. And I'm talking wind gusts in excess of 75 miles per hour being possible with this as it moves on through. So you see that there rather clearly. Now this is more concerning here. It's around 3 a.m., but you see these more individualized storms. They're going to have an environment that's going to be kind of favorable for some severe weather. So if you're down in the south, according to this model, you could have a rougher night ahead, looking like a strong wind, large hail thing, but an isolated tornado can't be ruled out. That kind of splits up, and then you have this arc of storms here. Now, these kind of fizzle out a bit. You can see here around 8 a.m., you have this line, and you have some of these more individualized storms. Now, this isn't particularly good news. The wind profiles and stuff look particularly good for these individualized storms to be able to produce some tornadic activity in the morning. So that's not fantastic news, but again, strong winds, large hail, tornadoes, all a possibility. Those storms finally fizzle out, and then we get our bigger stuff. It's around noon. We have our storms here. We have our big time line right about here. And as these move up, see here rather clearly, there's our potent arc moving on through. It's going to be bringing strong winds. And if this case pans out, this is actually some good news, because this means that while the strong wind threat is going to be high, the tornado threat will be mitigated some. So we're kind of hoping for this. The best tornado threat, if this does end up panning out, likely going to be the south, around this general area. So that's going to be where your highest tornado threat ends up being if this pans out. But you can see there's some significant thunderstorms moving on through, and it looks like rain remains all the way through 5, 6 p.m. But again, that's rather significant. That is just one possibility of many. And we're going to take a look at a second one. And again, there are many more, but these are just a couple. And these give us a decent idea of what to expect. So, again, here you go. This is a more broken line, but you can see here we do have a line of storms moving into Kansas City. It's going to be around 2 a.m. And this has a more favorable environment. It has that twisting kind of motion in it. Has a decent profile. It's a little bit inverted, so you're probably not going to see much in terms of tornadoes, but that's better conditions for strong winds and large hail than the previous one, and the previous one was already pretty decent. Then your storms fizzle out in the morning, but you can see some new storms actually firing there near Springfield. If this ended up happening, they'd be in a strange environment, to say the very least. And then you can see here, this right here, this would be a bad news bear. So 9 a.m., it shows this strangeness. I think it's going to be more organized than this, but Assuming it's not, you have these more individualized storms, and unfortunately, they're going to be in a pretty good environment to do some more tornadic stuff. And you can just see that freight train of storms that moves through till around 3 p.m. that could be particularly dangerous there. So, you can see their storms arrive in St. Louis around the 10 to 11 a.m. time frame on this particular run. But again, I believe it's going to be a bit later than that, and so does the National Weather Service. And it looks like conditions are going to be pretty good for all hazards with this. All right, well, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Unfortunately, it does look like we're going to be in a pretty big severe weather day tomorrow. Again, pretty high threats across the board. But as long as you're prepared, you're going to get through it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was something that was useful to you, and hopefully everyone will remain safe tomorrow as we do have a rather potent arc of storms move through. Thanks again. Hope to see you tomorrow morning for the final briefing on this before it moves through.